Hey there, I'm Sarah Thompson, I began, a nervous smile tugging at my lips. I'm 35, a marketing executive, and happily married to my amazing husband, Mark. We've been together for 7 years, and life's been good, except for one thing. We've been trying to have a baby for what feels like forever. Sarah, honey, Mark's voice broke through the silence one evening, after yet another negative pregnancy test. Maybe we should think about adoption. I sighed, the familiar ache in my chest deepening. I know, but I'm just not ready to give up yet. There's still that new fertility clinic Dr. Roberts recommended. Mark wrapped his arms around me, his voice gentle. Whatever you want, babe. I'm with you all the way. That was Mark, always supportive, unlike my older brother, Eric, and as if on cue, the devil himself waltzed in without warning. Little sis, how's the baby making going? Eric's booming voice filled the living room as he made himself at home, uninvited, like always. I forced a smile. Eric, what a surprise, I replied, though it wasn't. We're still trying. He flopped down on the couch, helping himself to a beer from our fridge. You know, Mom and Dad aren't getting any younger. They're always talking about wanting grandkids. Thanks for the reminder, I muttered under my breath. Completely oblivious, Eric kept going. By the way, did you hear? They're thinking about revising their will, something about the family legacy. My ears perked up. Our parents, Richard and Eleanor Thompson, had built a successful real estate empire. I'd never cared much about the money, but Eric's tone made me uneasy. What do you mean, revising a will? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Eric shrugged, too casually. You know how they are, always planning for the future. Probably want to make sure their grandkids are taken care of. The way he emphasized grandkids made my skin crawl. I quickly changed the subject, but his words lingered long after he left. Later that week, I met up with my best friend Lisa for coffee. As soon as I walked into the cafe, she could tell something was off. Spill it, Sarah. What's going on? I recounted Eric's visit, along with the weird vibe I got from him. Lisa listened carefully, her brow furrowed. Sarah, I don't want to freak you out, but be careful around Eric. Something about this doesn't sit right with me. I know, I admitted, grateful for her concern. It's just, it feels like he sees me as some kind of competition. It's ridiculous. Trust your gut, honey. And remember, you've got people in your corner. Speaking of which, any news from the fertility clinic? A small smile crept onto my face. Actually, yeah, we're starting a new treatment next week. Fingers crossed. As I left the cafe, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change. Little did I know just how much. After years of trying, Mark and I were finally expecting. 5 months along, and I was walking on air. My baby bump was showing, and I felt like I was glowing from the inside out. You look radiant, sweetheart, Mom said as I walked into their mansion for a celebratory dinner. Dad stood beside her, beaming with pride. Thanks, Mom, I feel amazing. I rubbed my belly affectionately. The house was decorated for the occasion, streamers, balloons, the works. As I made my way upstairs to freshen up, I heard unsteady footsteps behind me. Well, if it isn't the golden child. Eric's slurred voice made me freeze. I turned to see him, disheveled and reeking of alcohol. Eric, are you drunk? I asked, heart racing as he stumbled closer. You think you're so clever, don't you? Getting knocked up just to secure your inheritance. What are you talking about? I backed away, panic rising. Don't play dumb. His words were sharp, venomous. I heard Mom and Dad talking about changing the will, all because you're popping out a brat. Anger surged through me. This baby isn't about money, Eric. How dare you? How dare I? He sneered, moving closer. How dare you manipulate our parents like this? You're being ridiculous, I said, trying to push past him. Let me through. That's when it happened. Eric's face twisted in rage, and before I could react, his hands shoved me hard. I felt myself falling, tumbling down the stairs as time seemed to slow. Step after step, my body hit hard. I heard screaming. Was that me? And then, darkness. I didn't know how long I was out. When I finally woke, I was in a hospital bed, machines beeping softly around me. My whole body ached, and panic set in as the memory of the fall rushed back. The baby, I croaked, my throat dry. Mark's face swam into view, relief flooding his features. Sarah, thank God. The baby's okay. You've been in a coma for 2 weeks. 2 weeks? My mind reeled. Everything felt foggy, but then it hit me. Eric, he pushed me. Mark's expression darkened. I know, but he's claiming it was an accident. Mark said, his voice tight with frustration. The police can't do anything without proof. Tears welled up in my eyes. But you believe me, right? Of course I do, Mark replied fiercely, squeezing my hand. We'll figure this out, I promise. As I lay there, trying to piece together the events of that night, I heard hushed voices just outside my hospital room. I strained to listen. No concrete evidence, a stern voice was saying. Without a witness or confession, our hands are tied. But surely the fall itself, my dad's voice, sounding more distressed than I'd ever heard, cut through. It could have been an accident, the first voice interrupted. I'm sorry, Mr. Thompson, but we need more to go on. I closed my eyes, a mix of fear and anger twisting in my gut. Eric had tried to kill me, tried to kill my baby, and he might actually get away with it. As I drifted into an uneasy sleep, one thought circled in my mind. I had to find a way to prove what Eric had done. Somehow, I had to make sure he faced justice. The next few days blurred together with doctors, tests, and worried faces surrounding me. I was beyond relieved that my baby had survived, but fear gnawed at me. The worst part was the blank space in my memory, like a black hole where that night should have been. Sarah, can I come in? Eric's voice at the door made my heart race. I nodded, unable to trust my voice. He looked awful, pale with dark circles under his eyes. I'm so sorry, he choked out. It was an accident, I swear. I never meant for you to fall. I wanted to scream, to accuse him, but the words wouldn't come. Maybe it was the medication, or maybe a part of me wanted to believe him. Okay, I heard myself say. Eric left and Mark entered, his face dark with a storm of emotions. Why did you forgive him? He demanded. I don't know, I whispered. I can't remember what happened, Mark. What if it really was an accident? Mark's expression softened. We'll figure this out, I promise. Days passed, and slowly, flashes of that night started creeping back into my mind. The argument at the top of the stairs, Eric's angry face, the sensation of being shoved. I called Lisa, desperate to talk to someone outside of the situation. It wasn't an accident, I told her, my voice trembling. I remember now, bits and pieces, he pushed me. There was a sharp intake of breath on the other end. That bastard, Lisa hissed. We need to prove it, Sarah. But how? It's my word against his. After a long pause, Lisa spoke, her voice low and determined. What if we set up a hidden camera? If he visits again, we might catch him saying something incriminating. It felt sneaky, but I was desperate. Let's do it. Lisa smuggled in a tiny camera disguised as a stuffed animal, and we positioned it carefully in my hospital room, hoping it would capture any future conversations with Eric. Meanwhile, Mark was taking matters into his own hands. He hired a private investigator, Jake, to dig into Eric's past. You're not going to believe what I found, Jake said during one of his updates. Your brother-in-law has a history of gambling debts. He's been making some shady business deals to cover them up. I felt sick. Anything else? Jake nodded grimly. He's been meeting with your family's lawyer, looking into ways to contest the will if it's changed in your favor. We need to be careful, Mark warned. Eric's clearly dangerous. We can't confront him without solid proof. I agreed, but inside I was seething. How could my own brother do this? The next day, as if summoned by my thoughts, Eric showed up again. This time, I was ready. The hidden camera was in place, and I steeled myself for whatever might happen. Hey sis, Eric greeted me, overly cheerful. How are you feeling? Better, I replied cautiously. Eric, we need to talk about what happened that night. His face changed instantly, a flicker of fear, maybe anger, before he quickly composed himself. I told you it was an accident. Why can't you just let it go? I took a deep breath. Because I'm starting to remember, Eric, and what I remember doesn't match what you're saying. His eyes darted nervously around the room, and I prayed he wouldn't notice the camera. You're confused, he said, his voice hardening. The doctor said you might have some false memories. Don't go making accusations you can't take back. I saw a glimpse of the real Eric then, the one who had shoved me down those stairs. I knew I was right. This was no accident, and I was more determined than ever to prove it. The day finally came when I was being discharged from the hospital. Eric had agreed to help me pack, not knowing it was all part of our plan. Mark, Lisa, and my parents were in the next room, listening in. The hidden camera was recording, and I was wired up. My heart pounded as Eric walked in, all smiles. Ready to go home, sis. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what was about to come. Almost, but first we need to talk about what really happened that night, Eric, I said, my voice steady. His smile faltered. We've been over this. It was an accident. Was it? I pressed. Because I remember you pushing me. I remember you talking about the will. Eric's face darkened, and he stepped closer. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't I challenged. I know about your gambling debts, Eric. I know you've been meeting with the family lawyer, looking for ways to contest the will. He moved closer, his voice low and dangerous. You better watch what you're saying. Or what? I shot back. You'll push me down the stairs again. Eric let out a bitter laugh. You know what? Fine. Yes, I pushed you. You and your perfect little family were about to ruin everything. Do you have any idea what it's like, always being second best? I felt a wave of nausea. So you tried to kill me? Your own sister? His eyes narrowed. I didn't mean to push you that hard, he snarled. But you just wouldn't shut up about the baby, about how happy Mom and Dad were. I couldn't take it anymore. Suddenly, the door burst open. Mark, Lisa, and my parents rushed in, their faces filled with horror and disbelief. How could you? Mom sobbed. Dad's voice was cold as ice. You're no son of mine. Get out. Eric's face paled as the realization hit him. You set me up, he hissed at me. No, Eric, I said, my voice steady. You did this to yourself. The next few hours passed in a whirlwind. The police were called, statements were taken, and Eric was arrested on the spot, charged with attempted murder of me and my unborn child. As the investigation deepened, more of his crimes surfaced. Fraud, embezzlement. It was like opening Pandora's box. In the weeks that followed, I focused on my recovery and preparing for my baby's arrival. My family rallied around me, showering me with love and support. Mom and Dad revised their will, cutting Eric out completely. But honestly, I didn't care about the money. All I wanted was for my family to be safe. Then the day came. I was in the delivery room, bringing my daughter into the world. As I held her for the first time, an overwhelming sense of love and protection washed over me. She's perfect, Mark whispered, tears in his eyes. A few days later, we were home, settling into our new life. Lisa came to visit, bringing news. It's over, she said. Eric's been sentenced to 15 years in prison. I nodded, feeling a mix of emotions, relief, sadness, anger. Sarah, Mark asked softly, you okay? I turned to my husband, my best friend, and our beautiful daughter. Yeah, I said, smiling. I'm more than okay. As I rejoined my family, I knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them together. We'd been through hell and come out stronger. Now, with our little girl, a new chapter was beginning. The future was bright, and it was ours. Now, I have a question for you. If you were in Sarah's position, could you ever forgive Eric for his actions? Or do you believe some betrayals are truly unforgivable? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might help others dealing with toxic family dynamics. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more powerful stories exploring family dynamics, resilience, and personal triumph. Your support helps us continue sharing meaningful narratives. Thanks for watching. We can't wait to hear your opinions.